Hey y'all, I just want to do a video real quick because I watched the most powerful video that I have seen on YouTube in a long while. Forget how I'm looking. I got some things to do later to put a balloon arch together for my cousin's daughter's birthday. But anyway, the guy was on Kenneth Copeland's conference. His name is Jess. I forgot his last name. I'll try to pin the video in the description. He was basically saying that in Christian religions, we were brought up, let me turn this TV down. We were brought up to say, or we were brought up thinking that we need to be in poverty. And he was like, that is not what God said. God says that when you pray, he was saying that people go by the concept of pray and pay. And he said, you don't need to do that. You need to pray, believe, receive. I added the receive part, but he said pray and believe and it'll be granted. He was talking about how he fell under the leadership of Kenneth Copeland, who is a really big, well-known pastor down in, I want to say, Texas. And when he fell up under his leadership, and he was saying that he was this really poor guy, brought up in a trailer, and but when he fell under Kenneth Copeland's leadership, he started seeing bigger, and he would just say it, and it just inspired me so much because the way he talked about the things that he gets, he was like, it's limitless. Like, he said sometimes he has to be careful for what he says, asking for things, because they come like that. He told a story about, his main story was on buying a jet. And he was saying that he was driving with his wife one day, and the Holy Spirit told him to look up. And he looked up and he saw this beautiful jet flying over him. And he was like, I'm going to be in one of those one day. He said, no sooner than, I want to say 2 months later, somebody called him up and said, Jesse, I think I got the one for you. Flew out to Canada, saw and he said it was the creator of Firestone. It was his personal jet. And he was saying that the guy told him that, well, I can give you $20,000 down and then pay you by whatever time frame. And he said, give me your hand. Took his hand, got a handshake, and he told him, this is how we used to do deals back in the day. And he said, I don't need no money from you now. Just go ahead and get me, I don't need no money from you now. Just go ahead and get it to me by next year when you have the time. And so he did so, but he also threw in like $250,000 for, I want to say, there was something that was included on the jet, and he threw it in for him, $250,000 for whatever was included on the jet. I want to say it was like the air conditioning unit, and it's a really funny video. So the pastor is really funny. He's like, well, boy, I can go to Walmart and give me $100 box unit. And he was like, can't you imagine just seeing a jet with a box unit hanging out the side? But anywho, the guy from Firestone threw it in there for him so basically that was his first $250,000 that, you know, God provided for him. And then he was talking about how once he got the jet, Kenneth Copeland told him, like, you have to make it yours. And so he was like, well, I mean, I'm fine with what it looks like. But he was like, no, you have it now, so make it yours. And he said he sent it out to somebody to get it custom. He said when it was time to go pick up the jet and pay for it, somebody had already paid the $20,000 for him to have his custom jet made. And he was like, it was somebody in England. They sent the payment for the custom, and he said to this day he was still trying to figure out how his interior was paid for. He does not know who paid for that interior, but I was excited because when I listened to the video, it was talking about how God has sent him through, why God keeps circling you back to places. And he said, because they're meant to be in your life. Now, for me referencing this, I had been looking at a piece of land. Well, there's a bunch of land for sale in this area, and I had saw it on realtor.com a while ago, like I want to say the beginning of the year, maybe even last year. And I haven't bought a home yet. I've had a really, really good landlord, love her to death. But lately, I have just been feeling like I want to purchase a home or build. And so one day I was just on the road. I was on the interstate and I was driving, and it was like, get off and go look at that land. And so I got off, took the street, go look at it. I was like, oh, it's kind of hilly over here, but they do have one area that's more flat. And so went to go look at it, left. Did I leave work? Left work, called my mom, kind of told her about it. And then the next day I was at work, got off, and it was like, go look at the land again. And so went to go look at it again, called my mom up like, hey, you want to go look at it? And so, but it was kind of reaffirming what I was already believing for myself, is that when he was saying in that video, like, you wonder why you keep being led to things because they're supposed to be in your life. And so I just am believing that for myself. Like even yesterday when I took my mom past it, we kind of talked about, because it's a highly wooded area. So we kind of talked about the deer in the area. And I don't mind deer without antlers. But so yesterday, I went and looked again by myself after taking my mom the day before. And so I was just kind of looking at the hills of the land, but there is one flatter area. And I never really have enjoyed my backyard at my current house because the backyard is like a slope down and it's just a flat area at the bottom. So I never have really enjoyed the backyard at my current house. So I don't want to be on a hill, but there is this one area that's flatter and then it starts to go ascend up. And so when I picked my daughter up yesterday from work, she was like, hey, can we go ride past that place again? So I was like, yeah, let's go. And we rode past, and there was a deer standing on the land that I kept thinking of that was like the flatter piece of land. It does have kind of like a tree, a valley of trees on the side of the land. That did kind of throw me because we had a bad storm here. Probably, I think it's been a year. And tree came down on the roof, put 6 holes in the roof, and it was bad. The yard was really bad, and I had like a what do you call that? Like a waterfall in the basement. It was bad. So I did not really want a lot of trees on my land, but this is, like I say, off to the side. But we rode back through yesterday, and there was a deer standing there, and it just watched us, and we turned back around and came back down, and it watched us again. And then I texted my mom, like, Mom, I went back past the land, and it was, that flatter piece I would be okay with. And I said, I saw a deer on the land, and she was like, oh, did that deter you from it? And I was like, no, actually, it didn't deter me at all. It wasn't, I want to say, I don't know how to count deer ages, but it looked like a teen. And so I wasn't nervous about a deer being on the land. But then she sent me that video that I ended up saving, and I'm gonna put it in the description. But I just wanted to get on and just reference how he said that we need to stop living in a poverty mindset, and that we can actually have the things that we ask God for, and we're not looking to pray and then pay. we need to pray and believe and then receive, and we don't have to worry about how we're going to get the money to pay for the things that we would like, because he will provide those things. That was very powerful for me, spoke to me very heavily, because I have been in a state of meditation and really in the process of trying to be spirit led, so I can figure out my next best move. But for it to be provided or set right in front of me, it just reaffirmed kind of like what he was saying, that he does not have, he has set up his children's children, and he was like, I didn't set it up for my granddaughter. He was like, I can't wait till I told the Lord I'll be around until my great grandchild or children come. And he said, because my granddaughter made me grand, but my great grandgrands will make me great. And so, but he just talked about all of the things that God has provided, because he does not try to figure them out on his own. He literally asks and receives, or sometimes he does not ask. Sometimes he said he will be led with a certain amount of money that, like he said, this year he needs, or in the conference he was saying, I don't know what year it was filmed, but he said in the conference, he was like, this year I'm supposed to ask for $78 million. And he was like, now to him, he was like, okay, now God, you want to slow down a little bit? And he was like, no, but God is not limitless. So that number is nothing to him. It's nothing for us to have the things that the riches that he has prepared for us. And so we shouldn't be living in a poverty mindset, and shouldn't feel like it's we're bragging or boasting because God is providing. We let those know that the way that, and I started thinking about the things in my house, like just the things that I have vision for. I'm sitting on this couch, and I said my next couch is going to be leather couch, a full leather couch, and went into the furniture store and found this leather couch. It had a little scratch on the side, but it was not big enough to where I could even, like, if you come in, you won't even see it. I know it's there because, I examined it before I bought it, but I got it $1,400 cheaper than what it was supposed to be. Just thinking about envisioning, after we did the repair from the storm, envisioning what I wanted my living room to look like, and I have those things in my house. Envisioning what I want my house to look like, and I have those things in my house. I've had things on wish list that I now have in my house. And to me, that is on the smaller scale of what he has been doing. So I just wanted to pop on real quick, just to kind of tell you guys, like, we need to be praying, believing, receiving. Get out of the poverty mindset. Like I said, hopefully with this land, you guys will be in on these videos to see what happens with that. But I hope you all are doing well. Let me know something that you're praying and believing God for, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, y'all.